What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part 6 of my reviewing and ranking King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard's albums. This is their 6th, hence part 6, 6th studio. This came out in 2015, and there's a lot of background information about this that you don't necessarily need to know to enjoy the album, but I think helps make it way more fascinating and also makes it very more King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard-esque. It's called Quarters because there's 4 songs, and each song is exactly 10 minutes and 10 seconds long, hence they're each a quarter of the album, making the album length 40 minutes and 40 seconds. We got 4s all over the place. Apparently, the recording of this album is Mackenzie had written ideas, had like 4 separate sort of rhythmic groove chordal ideas, and taught them to the band. They just kind of learned them and like practice them, and then they went in the studio, improvised a bunch of takes, literally cut and spliced them together, took the best of the takes, and came up with these 4 really loosely jazz, psych, casual, not casual is a weird word, but jazz seems to be the right word, like a very inventing their own version of jazz psych rock. It's definitely nowhere near as thrashy or aggressive or heavy as they can be or would be later. Definitely has a couple of the songs. The first song is called The River, and both the first song and the 4th song have very much a traveling down the river, kind of just swaying, moving forward type vibe to them, but in completely different ways. But it's that kind of feel. There's a looseness to it. There's a, due to the nature of the recording, the nature of the whole idea behind them, a very just, there's something kind of calm about them, even though it is still a very, very much a psych album. Production stuff is happening. If like the music is just too normal, we'll mess up with the lyrics, or we'll do a volume drop or something weird noise will come in. Like they're always making sure like the psych atmosphere is present no matter what happens. So it's still very much a King Gizzard psych sounding, maybe not the best sound quality in the world for a studio recording, but a really, really interesting trip, a musical trip for them. First song, The River, 10 minutes and 10 seconds long, kind of has 2 different parts. The first part kind of sounds like you're floating down a river, like on a sunny day, only you're not really lazy. There's like, it's like maybe like England in the 1800s and people are having tea and there's lively conversation, but it's still this really kind of peaceful sunny day, but it's just like there's like stuff going on, right? You're not falling asleep and lazing. And then it goes into this middle section that's maybe a little more intense. Maybe I don't want to say darker because it doesn't get really dark, but it's almost like you've arrived at your destination on the river, and then it's like a party. But there's like, it's not a wild debauchery party, but there's alcohol. People are now conversing with a different intent than they were earlier. It just feels more grown up and adult and like purposeful to it. And then the party ends and we're right back on the river again, just floating down, continuing on with our way. And then at the very end, we reach the end of our destination. And as people wander off, they kind of remember all the conversations they had at the party and are making those connections. And the music itself becomes a little looser and jammier and just jazzier. And people have, the different instruments have things to say. Awesome 10-minute journey. The second song, Infinite Rise, is kind of the same rhythmic idea for the entire 10 minutes with just different noises coming in, different instruments doing different things. And Mackenzie the lyrics are him but reciting this litany of 2 and 3, sometimes 4-syllable phrases. Like, these are not them, but it would be like where the rhythm's going. He's just like dog napping, cat yapping, just like there's rhymes. It's just got this particular like hypnotic cadence, and the rhythmic groove is just kind of the same the whole thing, but there's all these kind of, the guitars doing this, and then there's ambient noises, and then keyboards, and then it's an interesting song. A little less dynamic than the River, because we really kind of just seem to be occupying the same mid-tempo psych pop around this 2010, when is this, 2015 era, like that unknown motor orchestra type pop action. Towards the end, it becomes very chaos towards the end. Uh, just as we groove and things are like seeming like they're going to fall apart. But it's called Infinite Rise, and the song both starts with about 35 seconds of this like infinite rising sound, and then after the song ends, we get the infinite rising sound to like finish out the song. The third song, God is in the Rhythm, almost the entire 10 minutes seems to be focused around this single melodic idea that gets repeated on guitar, and then the vocals, and then the bass, and then a guitar sounding differently, and then maybe a different guitar. And it's like we just get this same melodic thread over and over and over and over. And we'll get vocals, go to guitar, get vocals, go to bass, get vocals, do that. And it's kind of like Infinite Rise was like, let's take the same rhythmic idea and do something with that for 10 minutes. And God is in the Rhythm is like, let's take this single melodic idea and do something with it for 10 minutes. So it's an interesting contrast to the second song. The melody is awesome. It's very strong, very hooks you. And then the last couple of minutes, once I think we're done with the vocals, things start to unravel a little bit. And we get a little more like chaotic jammy and energy, similar to the way we ended in Infinite Rise. And then Lonely Steel Sheet Flyer, we're kind of back on a river, but it's like a different river. And there's this very kind of, starts off lonely. It's called Lonely Steel Sheet Flyer. For the first 30 or 40 seconds, it's kind of got these dark guitar tones and these rhythmic tones, and it has this lonely, sparse feel. But then the rhythm drops, and it has that kind of upbeat, casual, on the river vibe. But this river is maybe it's not as dark as like Apocalypse Now, going up the river, or Heart of Darkness, but it has more of a vibe where you're going up peacefully and something weird happens. Then you're going up peacefully and something weird happens. Then you're going up peacefully and something weird happens. Like that's kind of the vibe that Lonely Steel Sheet Flyer has, where the river, you get to a destination and it's great and everybody's having a good time. Here, you're like trying to avoid some of these places because they're getting like darky, psyche, intense. Kind of gets a little harrowing at one point towards like the second third of it, where like, oh no, now we've really gotten ourselves into trouble. But we always go back to that river. We always go back to that peaceful, sort of jazzy or more casual, just kind of rolling down the river vibe. Yeah, just a fascinating album. Yeah, 4 different experiments and going in and improvising around loose ideas that you all have, but not like mapping out exactly where you're going to go and kind of letting things happen. And it's like knowing that's how this played out, it's pretty fascinating, but then hearing it's some good stuff. It's absolutely fantastic music. Where would I rank this among the other 5 that I've already done? I have it at 4. Oh my goodness. Unfortunately, it's not going to stay there, I'm sure, because at some point I know there are albums that will be above it on this list. Yeah, it's interesting that its introduction into this is 4. Yeah, but it's great. I mean, all of these albums are fantastic. Number 6 is no slouch and is one of the greatest Psych albums, like one of the great Psych debuts of like the new millennium. Eyes Like the Sky, immense Western Psych. Come on, man. Sergio Leone does deep, dark Psych. Fantastic. All of those albums are amazing. But for me, Quarters right now, drop it at number 4. All right. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do all those things. Let me know your thoughts on this album. Go listen to this album if you haven't. And yeah, King Gizzard, man. What a ridiculously amazing band. All right. Peace. Talk to you later.